Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to answer the question, does IRCC subtract your loan amount from your proof of funds? I do get this question a lot. If I need to provide a certain amount for settlement funds, does that mean that any loans I have are going to subtract directly from those funds? So if I have a car loan that's worth $15,000, immigration says I need to have just under $13,000. Does that mean that it's just not going to work? The $15,000 is going to override the $12,000 and I'm going to have to pay off that loan first before I can actually demonstrate that I have sufficient funds? Well, the answer is no. Let's flip over and let's take a look at exactly what you need to show. So we'll flip over here and I will just share my screen with you guys. The IRCC guidelines that are sent to the officers, we call them the program delivery instructions. They're right here. And there's a link in the description here of the video where you can access this. So here's what it says about proof of funds, okay? So obviously it's designed to show that you meet the low income cutoff. That's that LICO everybody's talking about. When you're coming to Canada, to show that you have sufficient funds to support yourself when you settle. Immigration asks that you provide a letter from your financial institution that shows all of this information, account numbers, the date each account was opened, current balances of each account, as well as the average balance for the past 6 months. And if we flip over here, this is basically the table as the current date of this video is being produced. This is the amounts that you require. So if they're asking right here, if you're one member in your family, you're just you, no one else, it's $12,960. So back to that question that we asked, will a loan be something that IRCC subtracts from the amount that you have? And the answer is no. There's no regulation. There's nothing that says IRCC will simply subtract any debts that you have from your assets, and then what's left over is how much you can truly prove to settle in Canada. That's not the case. Does it mean that they ignore the loans? No, it does not. If you have a mortgage payment on a house, and I've seen lots of other helpful tips on the internet that says car payments, loans, well, car loans, home loans, mortgages, those things aren't going to impact immigration. That's simply not true. So other people may be telling you that, but don't listen to them. The reality is right now, immigration, what they do is they take a more holistic, all-encompassing approach. They want to see that the funds that you've earned are obviously yours and that you've earned them through savings, that they're not a loan, that they're available for you to use in Canada. If you have other obligations, in other words, if you have a mortgage for $1 million property and your monthly payments are $10,000 a month, and the only funds that you show in your account at the time you file your EAPR are this minimum, if we flip back here to the website, this minimum $12,960, well, clearly those funds are going to be eaten up if you don't sell that property, and the officer doesn't know that. But if you don't sell that property before you come to Canada, the reality is you are going to have payments that are going to far outstrip what you have in your settlement funds very quickly. So what I advise my clients to do is, where possible, yeah, get rid of your loans if you can. Don't carry loans. But if you don't have the ability to do it, even if you have credit card debt, the way I view this is, look, I want to make sure that I have enough to cover and service that loan on top of what I am, what IRCC right here is asking that I have for me and my family. So if I have a family of 4 and it says that there's $24,083, and I also want to point out that this changes all the time, so always go back and check this link. But if you have that amount and you have other debt, then I want to make sure that you have that $24,000 set aside, and then you have enough to service that debt for at least 6 months. Now, you're not going to find this anywhere else. This is just what myself, Mark Holt, the immigration lawyer, is telling you. But you need to make sure you have sufficient so that you can service that debt, even if it's the minimum payments. And in my proof of funds, the letter of explanation that I include with my proof of funds, I actually lay it out and spell it out for the officer how I'm going to service this debt essentially till I get on my feet. or I'll say, I'm going to be selling this property. Whatever it might be, you need to explain it. But short answer is, guys, no, they don't direct subtract it, but it does play an important role. All right. Thanks for watching this one, and I will see you again in another video on Express Entry.